Thank you, Angela. I trust my mic is working. All right. Welcome, everybody, to Smarter Tech 26, and especially to our returning attendees that attended Smarter Tech 25. That was naturally a face-to-face event. So this time around, we thought we'd do something that we can get everybody around the world to join us, and we're hoping that it works. So what is Smarter Tech? Obsidian, together with some of its trusted partners, just love to get together and share some product roadmaps, strategic thinking, and just how the world is getting smarter every day, and share that with as many people as possible. So that's where you guys come in. Attend as many sessions as possible, engage with the teams in their respective areas, and just connect amongst yourselves. So please enjoy the day. We hope the new technology platform is going to play along and help all of us to leave a little smarter than what we arrived. Before I hand it back to Angela and team, I thought I would just share a recent experience so that none of you end up in the same scenario. So we were having a family lunch and my sister-in-law asked me, what are my thoughts and opinions on AI? So I leant back, thought a little bit and said, well, I started playing with AI because, all the cool kids were doing this. And I think that maybe they're onto something. So at first I was very tentative. I tried it a few times a week just to get the hang of it. And as I got more experienced, I realized the more I give, the more I get. Now I can honestly say that it has been a life changer. I'm now using it every single day in multiple ways. I'm trying different models, training on my own data, others people's data if they will allow me, all to get a better result. And then I noticed the expression on my sister-in-law's face, the shock, the disgust. And that's when I realized that because she was an established dog breeder, she was actually asking about artificial insemination and not artificial intelligence. So please be careful out there. And just like AI, always check that the context is correct before you give answers. We really hope you enjoy the day, and I look forward to chatting to many of you throughout the day. Angela, over to you.
Thank you, Muggie. We'd just like to thank our key sponsor, Atlassian, who is going to join us for our first plenary session. We're heading over to Mario, who's coming in from Europe, and we'd like to welcome him. He will be giving us the latest updates on what Atlassian is doing and some of the key messaging from Team 26. So if you missed it, don't worry. Mario is here to bring us all the highlights and updates. So enjoy. Welcome, Mario.
Hi all, how are you? I'm just double checking that you can hear me all right. Sounds great, perfect. Well, hi everyone. Yeah, my name is Mario. I'm one of the solutions engineers for Atlassian. I work with our Middle East and Africa regions. I've been working very closely with Obsidian, with Muggie and his team, with some of our larger clients in South Africa. Today, I'm going to give you a quick recap of all the announcements that we made over Team 26. I appreciate that it might be a lot of information. But as you know, you can always reach back to Obsidian for any follow-ups, and as well, I'm pretty sure that they'll do an amazing job just to loop us in and help you if you have any questions, as well as if you need any demos or want us to assess your solution as well together. We'll be more than happy to help you. So let me share my screen. Just give me 1 second. Here we go. And as well, I hope that you can see it properly. So yes, so today I'm going to show you a little bit of the roadmaps of what was announced on Teams 26 and some of the announcement highlights. Again, it's going to be a lot of information, but I'll try to be as concise as possible. And I will as well, I selected some of the most relevant announcements as well, but I'm going to leave with you towards the end the slide with all of the announcements that were made. And again, we can always catch up afterwards if you have any questions. So the first thing is we double down on our vision and our mission of what we want to do. So as you know, we are trying always to unleash the potential of every team. We're trying to bring everybody together. If you're familiar with Atlassian, we always work under the philosophy of the system of work, which is putting us forward to aligning our work to the goals, just to make sure that we are doing the work that matters for our own organizations, and that we can always keep track of of the goals across all the teams. So anything that you set at the organization level, you can do it and follow it up all the way to your execution, with always as well being embedded AI in everything that we do. So for this year, for the Team 26, we wanted to move more towards an AI native perspective and make sure that we leverage all of the solutions that Atlassian has built as well inside the platform. As you know, Robo has been the start of the show, especially during this Team 26. And part of the focus is because we understand that we are moving towards where everybody's using their own agents, teams, organizations, individuals, and they can use them for several different things. You can use them to optimize your flows. You can use them to optimize the way that you're working, or you can even use them just to surface information that you need when you need them. So we do envision that as we move forward, we will have more embedding of AI agents into our workflows, but always keeping the human in the middle. Our philosophy has always been to have a human in the loop. We see and understand that agents are here to accelerate our jobs and to help us to go faster and to do more with what we have. Similarly as well, so we understand as well that there's models everywhere. Almost every vendor is offering any AI capabilities, whether if it's like Atlassian, or now you can have it in other tools like ServiceNow or Microsoft Copilot, etc. There is always a new model. However, what our philosophy is focusing on for the next iteration of our product delivery is understanding that the model is not just what gives you the information. A model can be powerful, but what it actually drives the power of AI and leveraging these models that we actually use as well is to have all the context. Is all the context that is relevant for making decisions, for making sure that you have all of this information in a single place. Any model that you might be using, and you might be familiar if you have personally used, for example, ChatGPT or Gemini, every time that you're using it, you have to come back to it and start writing, what are you doing? What's the context of what you're trying to do? Why are you asking a question? And as models start gathering the memory, maybe the answers are going to start being better, but you always have to be bringing in that context that is relevant for you and for what you're trying to do. In the same way, we envision this context for the Atlassian platform to be helping you to be able to make better decisions, because our AI offering is not just leveraging an LLM or a set of LLMs that sit behind Rovo, but it's also bringing all of the information that is relevant to your organization. So it can bring together the ideas, the stories, the epics, the conversations that you've had, the different decisions if you're putting them in Confluence, etc., and bring all of this together to give a better answer. As you know, Robo has been embedded into the Atlassian platform, and we have been focusing into its three key capabilities. So the first one is the RoboChat, then we have the RoboSearch, and we have RoboStudio as well. So all of those keep being top and center of our goals and as we move forward. Now, as I mentioned, so we do have loads of models, and the way that we are summarizing our ambitions is this little formula where we see that teams can accelerate if you have intelligence, but also you need context. Context is the most important thing for taking the most advantage of an LLM and AI in general. Now, the way that we see this is the way that we embed all of this is by using the teamwork graph. The teamwork graph is everything that sits, it's a data layer that sits under all the Atlassian platform. The best way that I have to describe it is all of our applications that hopefully you're familiar with, they utilize the same resources underlying it. So it doesn't matter if you're working from Jira, from Confluence, from Service Manager, or from Customer Service Management as well, you will always have this underlying set of data that will bring you the right information at the right time and will help you to create this acceleration. If you haven't seen the Teamwork Graph Explorer, I will invite you to do it. I can leave the link behind with you. if you have your own Atlassian setup, it's very interesting to start seeing how the teamwork graph is working and creating these relationships between the context of what you're working on. I did it for myself a couple of weeks ago just to play a little bit with this new feature that we launched. And it's quite daunting and impressive to see how my work is starting to relate not only to my Confluence pages or the Jira tickets that I've been working on, but also how this relates to other people's work that they might be in a different department and start having these connections as well. So I really invite you to try it out if you have the time, and it's a nice little experiment to run as well within your teams. Now, going back to the formula, so we're talking about acceleration, intelligence, and context. What we're aiming to do is that Atlassian is providing the context, and we are doing this through the teamwork graph. Having all of your information connected is what gives you this acceleration and what will help us as well to have these informed decisions, to not miss trends on our teams, or to just make our work to go faster as we need it. Now, when we're talking a little bit about the intelligence part is not just only provided through the context. We also appreciate that all of the LLM models are needed as well. So that's why we have the AI gateway. We have now several connectors and we have several partnerships with different LLM providers, and as well, I think you might have as you might have seen in recent news, we doubled down our commitments with Google, Gemini Enterprise as well. We do have connectors now with ChatGPT and with Claude, just to make the life of everybody that is involved in the software delivery lifecycle faster. And when I say software delivery lifecycle, I'm not just referring to developers and product owners that are on the day-to-day execution. We're also looking into the left-hand side of the delivery and the right-hand side. What this means is looking into how are we capturing ideas, how are we surfacing all of this information back to our C-suite or to people who need a report of how is my team doing, what's my return of investment, but also on the other side, which is once that something is delivered, are we reviewing it properly? Do we have the right rules and controls on everything that we do? And the way that we are providing this to you is through Robo. As I mentioned, it has been the star for a while, and I'm sure that it will continue being it. As I mentioned earlier, so the Teamwork Graph and Robo, they sit at the center of all of our applications, whether you interact with them in any of the surfaces like the chat functionality or the search functionality, but also you can create your own agents that can accelerate your workflows and help you to stay within your guidelines, your own standards, and make sure that apologies, my headset just turned off, but I think I'm back again. The agents will help you to accelerate your workflow as well. And not only the agents is the items that are going to be helping you to create this. We also have the different connectors, different applications. And as you know, you can integrate all of these ones to the Teamwork Graph. You can grab all the information, for example, from your GitHub implementations. You can create your Dora metrics dashboards and mixing it with your Jira tickets, with your Jira information as well, with any of the other tools that we have within the platform or any other tools that you might have within your ecosystem. Now, some of the key announcements that we did during 2020, the Team 26 is that the Teamwork Graph is now available in an open beta through the Atlassian MCP server, but also now you can also use it through the CLI. Now, what this means is that you can bring all of the power of Atlassian and the Teamwork Graph closer to you where it matters. Here I have a small video of how you can see it when it's being used through the console. This is with a connector of Cloud. You can see all the different skills that you can add to your IDEs, to whatever your team is doing, whatever they are working with. So to give you a specific example, here's where you can start creating assets, for example, managing your user stories, creating deliverables that are part of this, not only through the Atlassian platform, but also through any of your integrations. Now, you might think, why is this important and how Robo can help me? And what what we've identified through our research is that using Rovo and our teamwork graph, we get a 44% higher quality in terms of the integrations to the CLI and to the context of the tools that you might be using within your organization. But also, the most important thing is the ability to use less tokens, which means that you will be able to save money as well. So we've seen a 48% reduction in number of tokens. This is mostly because you will have the context available to you, and you can the results that you're getting through Rover can help you as well to cache information and to be a little bit more efficient. So rather than having to fire 5 different queries to different models, for example, or to a single model for that matter, you can always use Rover that will optimize the way that this is being done. So with this, I'll move towards the announcements that we made on the teamwork graph, on the teamwork collection. So teamwork collection sits with Jira, Confluence, and Loom, and Robo as well in top and center. One of the biggest announcements that we did was the agent briefings in Loom. What this means is that now you can record yourself through Loom, but also Loom is going to follow what you do. So you will be able to be clicking at prototypes or against your production instances, and Loom will be following all of this information and embedding it into the video so that when you share it, you can do several interesting things. Your team can immediately know what you're referring to. This goes even to the concept of what you clicked, which elements on the UI have been targeted. But also now you can connect Loom directly to Jira. So if you are creating a little Loom video about what is something that you need to fix or something that you think that needs attention, you can automatically now follow this button that it's here on the screen on the right hand side and create directly in Jira the action items that somebody has to do. So this brings the delivery lifecycle steps a little bit more smoother in terms of, hey, this is something that we need to do. Let's just immediately capture into Jira. Let's remove all of those back and forths in terms of, do we need to do this or do we not need to do, and the prioritization. You can always embed it and then use your agents as well to make sure that your team is focusing on the right things. Similarly, we did some interesting changes in Jira, where this is now generally available. So now you have the ability to use agents in Jira. What this means is that you're able to offboard your tasks directly to an agent. You can use your own robo agents, but if you have connectors with any of the third-party systems, you can also leverage their agents. So what you're going to be able to do is, as you see here, is assign something directly to a specific agent rather than a person. The agent will start working for you and will generate the steps that it needs to take, and you can create a little bit more of automated flows. Then again, this can be done within the robo agents that you have within Atlassian, but also the agents that you might have in your third-party integrations. Moving forward as well, we have announced the very exciting AI Planner in Jira. The AI Planner is an ability that allows you to create, as the name says, plans using AI of your deliverables. This means that if you have a set of tasks, the AI Planner can help you to break it down into where does this task need to go. Maybe some of these tasks need to be set up for a human, some of them might be set up for an agent, but it will do this automatically for you. So here is a little demo of what you will be able to do soon. So it was quite quick, but if you see here on the beginning, we have a list of tasks on phases of what you're trying to build and the work breakdown. But once that you click create, it will automatically create the view of where does this data and different tasks that we're trying to complete is going to. So we have assignations to different agents, but also assignations to people and how they're going to be working for them. So this will help us to do orchestration of different agents within Jira so that you have everything centralized without losing the visibility of how things are doing, how they are doing, and where is my work being executed. So leveraging the Jira integration with the agents, but also all the other tools like your dashboards or your reports, you can always keep on track of how your team is executing. Now, in Confluence, we announced a very exciting tool that I've been using nonstop. It's the Confluence Slides. Confluence Slides is the ability to transform your content from Confluence into presentations. So you can start saying goodbye to PowerPoint and start using Confluence Slides. Everything will be stored in the same tool that you're using. So if you already are storing all of your content and your operational guides and different sets of standards, etc., in Confluence, you can now use this capability to transform it into presentations. So this functionality was released internally for us Atlassians to test for a while. It's been really, really life changer. I don't have to do as many presentations. And because this uses Rovo as well, it is connected as well to the teamwork graph. So you can ask it to create a presentation of what's the latest status report, for example, and it will grab information from Jira, from Confluence, from JSM, for example, if it needs it out, and it will create automatically your visualizations of what you want to do. As well, you can ask Rovo to do changes for you. You can interact as well with the slides to change maybe colors, the size of the font, etc. So you can do your cosmetic changes either manually or ask Rovo. One of the examples that I often do is, Rovo, this slide is great, but maybe you left a little bit of white space there. Can you fix it? And it does it for me, which is great, saving me a lot of time. Sometimes I leave the presentation building running while I'm doing something else, which again is just helping to accelerate the kind of things that we can do. So what we're focusing within the teamwork graph is all about being able to orchestrate agents, having that rich content within the teamwork graph, but also having Rover as a proper AI partner. So it will help you to execute all the things that you want to do within the platform, but also make sure that all of your workflow is within a very contained space. So you can start consolidating your tools, which hopefully will mean that you're going to be spending less money in other licenses and have everything in a single place, having your single source of truth and context. We are also moving into code intelligence. If you haven't seen the keynote from Team 26, I will definitely invite you to see it. It's available in YouTube. There is this really cool demo where you see Mike Cannon-Brooks, our CEO, not debugging, he's asking Robo questions about Atlassian code and how it goes back in history from when he was one of the developers. So it scans all the code and it also gives suggestions of what you can be doing and how you can be fixing it. So you can start asking status of your code, because again, it will leverage the information from your repositories, but also against with Jira and Confluence and bring it all together to you and give you the right information when you need it, as well as give you suggestions to what could you be improving. As part of this as well, we have you can do your audits of how your code, it might be I don't know why my headset keeps turning off after a little bit. I think it's because I'm sharing screen, but hopefully everybody can still hear me. So yes, so as I was saying, Rovo can also grab the information from your code. You can compare it against your guidelines, and you can create reports that you can insert directly into Confluence. So as you can see, you can leverage all the teamwork graph with your code tools and then publish it and generate as you're generating knowledge, you have a single place where you can store it and make sure that it's available for the subsequent iterations. Now, we announced as well max mode in Rover. What this means is the ability to orchestrate several agents and create your own workflows in a more complex matter. So we know right now you do have automations within the Atlassian platform, and you can create very interesting automations here, but what Max Mode comes in with is the strength to be able to orchestrate different flows across different agents and then centralize all of the information and take steps out of it. What this will help you to do is those sub agents and sub flows that you might have within your organization and a way of processing things. So you will have your dedicated compute. It will also learn and coordinate the different information, the different workflows that you have. And also will be running code securely and will be self-correcting and will be reaching out to a human to confirm what are going to be the next steps. This is going to be really, really cool. I haven't gotten my hands on it yet. It is still being developed, so it will be coming soon. The latest that I had is like it's coming in a few months, yeah. So it should be available soon, and I'm really looking forward to test it out and make sure that I can put some interesting flows to work with it. As well, we made some changes to Rover Studio. So Rover Studio is where you can create your agents, but now we are also embedding the capability of creating your automations, but now as well AI powered. This functionality is also now available. So what you're going to be able to do is you can describe directly to Robo what you want it to do, and it will help you to create applications. It can help you to create automations and agents from the get-go. So you don't have to have that experience in terms of development experience. It can always be done and processed in natural language, which can help you and your different teams, not only engineering. So we're always bringing in together people from legal, for example, HR, your C-suite, and they can create their own flows and automations in an easier way. And as I mentioned a couple of times now, so Robo is taking a little bit more of the front center, but also Robo is now following you wherever you go. So we have announced 4 different areas or surfacing areas for Robo. Now you can have the Robo in your browser, which you can use it through your Atlassian platform. You have it on a desktop app as well, which is very handy as well. If you don't have to be interacting directly with the interface, you can ask Robo questions directly from your desktop. You can have Robo on mobile as well. And you can also have Robo in the terminal, which all of them have the same capabilities and will help you to improve your workflows. Now, appreciating a little bit of time, I'm gonna just skim quickly through some of the slightly smaller announcements that we made, but also impacting some of the wider collections that we have. From service collection, we are improving as well the way that it's working, and we have now added new channels for you to communicate. So we understand as well that you don't only use SMS. So now we're also, sorry, you're not only using emails or chats to interact with your people. So we're also introducing the ability to interact directly towards to SMS, WhatsApp, and voice as well. So what this means is that you can have real life interactions with your team that might be using customer service management, but your clients are going to be interacting directly from your phone. So as you can see from this quick demo, your client is going to be typing things directly. You're going to get them into your platform, but you can follow and track what's going on with them as well in an easier way. As well, there's 2 announcements that we did for the service collection. One, the command center, which allows you to have or to run investigations quicker. Again, all powered by the Teamwork Graph about what has happened within the platform, how can you fix it, and what elements of your platform might be impacted, and generated a report that can help you to identify root causes quickly. Similarly, we have the Incident Prevention Center in Jira Service Management. This one is a functionality that allows you to schedule and to manage your change management options in a way that also prevents you from creating an incident, and make sure, again, that everything is centralized so you always have a single source of truth. And lastly, before I finish, as I am almost at time, we have a robo service. So robo service is the ability to automate processes, and we use this at Atlassian internally as well quite a lot. So what you can do here, for example, is to automate 100% a flow that will remove the necessity of having somebody always in the loop, but you can always revert back to it because it's going to be stored in the platform. So here is somebody asking for a transfer. And as you can see here, the agent will take the different steps to make sure that you have all the information and go through checklist that needs to happen before you can do this. And here you can see that it is assigned to a robo agent. It will go and take all of the steps. So it will generate the letters that it has to happen. It reassigns your laptop, or it can reassign other information and make sure that you have all of the approvals. Just because we're on the half an hour, I'm just gonna go quickly to my last slide. Sorry, 1 second. I wanted as well to show you that the announcements that we made are very broad, and we focus on all of the collections, but there are just one too many to cover in a short time. And please, 1 second. I was very ambitious trying to fit all of this content in half an hour, but let me just move quickly to what I wanted to leave you with is this one. So this is all of the announcements that we made, and if you want to learn more of these ones, please do feel free to reach out to the Obsidian team, to Muggie, and we'll come with you. And as well, we will assess which of these ones are the best solutions for you and help you to improve all of your flows. So with that, I'll stop and I'll hand over to the studio.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Thank you for your time and energy, and a massive shout out to you for your support for our team and for our clients. We really appreciate that. If you've missed any of the talks, we're going to try and get those recordings to you, so please don't panic. And we're going to introduce the next speaker of the plenary session. We're super excited about our next partner. They're Red Hat, also key sponsor for smarter.tech'26. Obsidian Systems began 31 years ago as the first Linux installation on the continent for Nando's. It's an amazing heritage. 31 years later, the technology and the landscape has certainly transformed beyond what we could recognize then. We've been a Red Hat partner since 2001, and we've helped our clients navigate this wave and wave and wave after wave change. So it's my privilege to welcome Chris Mulder. He has got a wealth of experience in the South African market. He's a fellow geek and a passionate partner that we love working with at Red Hat. He also brings deep knowledge and expertise of the open source innovation and also with Red Hat. Chris is going to give us some great ideas in the next session and insights on Red Hat's security platforms and also on hybrid and cloud-based environments. And yes, Chris, it's a complex world we're navigating, and welcome and thank you for your time.
Awesome. Good morning. Thank you very much, Angela. Just a quick one. It feels like we're back in COVID times, doing a quick mic, audio, video check. Everything good. Hopefully, can get in okay. Dry runs don't always go as they're supposed to, but if nobody's objecting and if the studio tells me we're good to go, I see the timer started. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us this morning. The Obsidian team asked me to maybe give a quick report back on what Red Hat has been doing, and especially since we had the Red Hat Summit 2006 a couple of weeks ago. That happened in Atlanta. Now, quite often I get asked, but why do we really want to care down at the tip of Africa about what's happening somewhere in the US? And Red Hat takes a very interesting approach with how we organize these events. And usually our summit is not just about what are the new features, what are the new products. Yes, you've got to announce some things and tell people what's going to happen with the product and so on. But Summit is actually an opportunity for our executive teams to report back to our customer base and report back on everything that they've learned through things like our executive briefing centers, and give our customers an insight as to what do we see as Red Hat as being key requirements, key asks from our customers, and things that we will work on and pursue and build out in the coming months and years. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Red Hat and the way our model works, is that everything that we do in the world of open source is done in the community. When we create a new feature, when we create a new capability in any of the products, those are always donated and contributed back upstream, and then it flows back down into what Red Hat builds as software for the enterprise. And this is quite important because we work on the features that matter most to our customers. And by talking to customers, we get a lot of really good insights. And I want to share some of those insights. And I think, as everybody knows, we might be suffering from a bit of AI fatigue as it is today, but it's not going to go away, and it is really, really top of mind for most organizations. And it's going to feel a bit like speed dating today, because I've had to try and condense 1 week's worth of content and talks and announcements into pretty much 30 minutes that I'm going to try and share with everybody today. Now, full disclaimer, I use the great AI to summarize a lot of these things for me. It's awesome, because doing all that reading is just way too time consuming. Okay, so it's very useful in terms of that. So bear with me. But 4 main themes are pretty much at the top of everybody's minds these days. And these are the things that we are trying to address for our customers with the products and the software that we create. As you know, Red Hat has been in the business of building software, but more importantly, building platforms for more than 30 years now, right? We've honed the craft of creating software. We've honed the craft of building open source projects. We've honed the craft of integrating all of those capabilities into a meaningful and useful platform for our customers. And the key theme that's emerging right now, obviously, is closing the AI complexity gap. As organizations are embracing that complexity, right? Or at least embracing AI, we see this complexity gap widening and widening. IT teams aren't getting bigger, and traditional teams still have to deal with the demands of managing the critical legacy systems, or, you know, in layman's terms, keeping the lights on. And most enterprises and their initiatives on AI are very much like my software development skills, right? My ambition often quite outweighs or outstrips my actual ability. And many people and many organizations are looking to AI initiatives to address a lot of these things, okay? But these initiatives are outpacing IT budgets and the skills on the ground, right? And it kind of looks something like this, right? You know, the red line there is a line that's been happening for many, many years, not just with the boom of large language models or agentic AI or things like that. This has happened, you know, since the acceleration of modernizing systems, becoming cloud native, right? The demand on systems and people has just exponentially increased. It's that good old, you got to do less with more. Or you got to do more with less. I wish it was less with more, because we could all retire. So you got to do that. But, you know, human resource capacity or people, because I don't necessarily like that idea of human resources, okay? But people and budgets have remained flat, right? And then this is what everybody is grappling with at the moment. And this is compounded by the fact that today, in the greater scheme of things, most organizations are fundamentally managing 3 different platforms for their different workloads. There's the legacy instability that comes from the virtual machine platform. It's been with us for decades now. It's really, really good. It has solved us managing to maximize the resource utilization. You know, as we moved into the mid 2010s into 2020, this evolution of the way we produce software with containers came upon us, and everybody was looking towards containers for modernization and wanting to be more cloud native. And naturally, this has evolved into something that is now another platform that sits in an organization that continually needs to manage. And then as we go into the 2020s or almost to the 2030s these days, the advent of AI is becoming a platform on its own. AI workloads have very specific requirements, have very specific ways of doing things, and come with their own risks. And we see that early adopters or first movers, sometimes there's no advantage there. They are having to deal with these fragmented silos in terms of building their platforms. And this creates an additional tax on both your budgets, and it creates a tax on the people who have to run these systems, right? Each one of these is a different operating paradigm. Each one of these comes with a different set of requirements and the way we do this, right? They have different cost structures. And that fragmentation between these platforms, we are seeing in a lot of people we speak to, is that it is actually destroying that agility that's been built up through modern software development, DevOps, DevSecOps. It is actually removing some of that, because this context and the cognitive load sitting on the engineering teams is just becoming unmanageable, right? And it introduces a lot of interesting security requirements and security perimeters within that space, right? So how are we looking as Red Hat in terms of addressing that? What's the strategy? Okay. And the goal that we are aiming for with what we are building is to allow our customers to avoid that unsustainable ask of managing VMs, containers, AI, all in separate disjointed silos, right? And the idea and the work that we are doing and the philosophy that we are following is that there are immense gains to be had by taking that all of those platforms or different silos and converging all three fundamentally different workload types into a single unified platform. And OpenShift is that vehicle for us to enable our customers to do that. And that's going to provide them with one operational model and one consistent way to produce a security posture that will be acceptable. Okay. Now, a lot of customers have a lot of choice, right? And it's good. Choice is good. When there's competition, it enables very interesting market dynamics, market economics, but choice also fosters innovation. Problem with this is we're seeing that sometimes too much choice leads to a lack of control in the environment. And what we are seeing, especially as we are maturing into enterprise AI and AI being a core capability within the organization, okay, is that IT organizations require a way to balance that flexibility, right, to that choice. Being able to choose the best models, the best hyperscalers, the best hardware for what it is they intend on building and doing, but still maintaining very strict security and governance. And this is paramount, right? If you are a bank or financial institution, you are dealing with millions and millions of customers' sensitive data. You are subject to an enormous amount of regulation. And that's if you're a bank. But even if you're any organization that deals with customers, and the running of your business means you need to maintain customer information, security is tantamount. And the attack surface, everything good has a dark side. AI has enabled bad actors to look at security systems and perimeters of organizations at a pace now that is just absolutely phenomenal, with large language models being able to string together exploits in systems, at breakneck speed, right? And unfortunately, it is going to be a very, very difficult exercise to maintain these systems and to stay ahead of all of these different vulnerabilities in there with that, okay? Now, we see a unified stack, again, going back to what we've been building in a hybrid cloud platform for many, many years. We're seeing that unified stack being able to deliver uncompromising choice with control, right? Whether it is at your lowest foundation, your hardware, whether you want to be a hyperscaler native or whether you want to run your own systems, whether you want to align to a specific vendor like Intel or AMD, or whether you are going to be NVIDIA or Google Cloud. It doesn't matter. The platform has been designed from day one and will continue to evolve in this matter so that it runs anywhere where you need to be, right? And that is all unified through two key technologies. People think that Red Hat Enterprise Linux, the product that Red Hat was built on over many years, has almost become irrelevant these days with all of the new platforms. But it is still the core, it is still the foundation on which we build everything. And it is still the key engineering that we rely on to provide unparalleled security and control to any organization. And as we evolve into the era of AI, that choice needs to be extended. That platform, now we have to do the stand on the shoulders of giants thing, right? We've established OpenShift and Kubernetes as pretty much being the application platform of choice. In most enterprise deployments, and whether you are working with NVIDIA or with other partners on that, majority of the tooling that you are getting is built as a container. Containers are ubiquitous, right? And OpenShift is the one platform that remains consistent irrespective of where you run it and on what you run it, in terms of the way you apply security, the way you deploy your workloads, the way you manage your workloads, and the way you scale your business on top of that. And we will continue to extend that. And with Red Hat Enterprise AI, we are building these tools that makes AI easy to bring into production. A lot of folks are sitting in the world where maybe it's still experimentation, maybe you've still got a couple of accelerators in a box in a data center or underneath somebody's desk, but getting from that experimentation into bulletproof production takes a lot of work. And I think anybody who's been working in this space will attest to that, right? So we will continue to evolve this, where we will provide the platforms for you to bring any model. And we'll talk more about why this is important to bring a model as opposed to just consuming a baton, okay? And all within the open source spirit. So bring models that are open source models with open weights, or make use of frontier models, the Claudes, the ChatGPTs, the open AIs of the world, right? And we'll see this evolve into agentic AI. This is something that the acceleration has absolutely been phenomenal. It is strange, is like we saw these things starting to emerge towards the end of 2025, where people were talking about this idea of having an agent. And it's almost like everybody went away over the December holidays and came back in January and had built agents and had opened up a new world. And we've just seen agentic AI explode. It is one of the most exciting developments in this space. It is also one of the most dangerous. Let's just be honest amongst each other here. If you are building agents, I likened them in a talk I gave a couple of weeks ago. I likened AI agents where they are today to that new hire intern that you've just brought into the organization, right? It might be sharp, it might have been top of its class in college or varsity or wherever it started, but it knows nothing about your business, right? And it knows nothing about what it can and it can't do, and it has no concept of what's secure and what is not secure. And now you take that intern and you hand it the keys to the kingdom. You give it access to your entire environment. You're going to need some really, really good guardrails on top of that. Okay. And this is the strategy that we're building the Red Hat vision on going forward, right? Is allowing enterprise customers to build on an open foundation, right? That allows you to isolate software. So your workload, what is important to you, what runs your business, does not get tied to or locked into any specific hardware dependencies or any specific vendor at the end of the day. Okay, and because we're still playing the catch-up game in a large part of this from modernization efforts, the unified platform is going to allow customers to actually bring all of these workloads together. Being able to run legacy systems that drive the business, that run the business, be able to run them side by side in the same platform, with your new initiatives and new software and new applications being developed, as well as your AI environment, is going to unlock the next level of innovation for our customers. Okay. Now, the dark side of all of this, right? When everybody started adopting hyperscalers, we had the emergence of something called FinOps, i.e. gaming or maximizing the resources you obtain for the money that you spent with the hyperscalers, and with the explosion of AI, and especially with providers and the frontier providers. We look at the big three: Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT. A new style of economics has emerged, and we call these things token economics, right? And in certain circles, in certain high-tech industries, there's this emergence of token maximization or token maxing, right? If you have some sort of an arrangement or an agreement with one of these providers, you are under pressure to actually make maximum use of that, all right? But the economics don't hold true, and they don't hold up over the long term. And there are some staggering numbers around that. Now, on the other side of the complexity scale, worldwide governments, regulators, controlling bodies are waking up to this idea, is that, well, okay, everybody's doing this AI thing, but we might need to actually think about a bit of sovereignty around this. We might need to think about, how do we prove things? How do we make it more transparent, right? So AI sovereignty is a big thing. I think the biggest concern for a lot of governments, maybe outside of the US or North America, is that, well, now we're sending all of this data off to some organization running some algorithm and some model. And how do we know this data is not being consumed, to train new models, or to gather intelligence, or whatever the case might be? So the simple things around privacy, and data protection is just now multiplied, or it's exponentially more difficult to actually do in the age of AI, right? Okay. And from an economic standpoint, is we're seeing already in a lot of our customers now, is that there was already a cost, and maybe that cost was planned for, in terms of just regular LLM consumption. But as customers are onboarding these agents and the reasoning agents, right, they are a force multiplier for token consumption, right? Because it's a complex thing. There's tokens in and there's tokens out. And when you have these autonomous agents that maybe sit in some sort of a tight loop, they can very, very quickly actually increase that consumption and the cost, right? And what we're seeing with a lot of our customers, and with a lot of use cases presented at Summit this year, is that the guys who win, the customers who win and really get this right, okay, they are folks that are planning their strategy in order to transition from becoming a token consumer. And yeah, it's I'll attach a bit of air quotes to that, not being 100% independent, but reducing their consumption, right? So moving from being a pure consumer to actually being a token provider, right? And how does this work? How have we done this? Well, we've done a bit of dog fooding in our own organization. When these models became available, we had engineering teams and specific groups within Red Hat themselves take the latest and greatest frontier models and try to solve very specific problems. And then we proved that you can solve the problem. But then we did what we do as Red Hat, right? And we said, okay, how can we optimize this? How can we make this generic? How can we build a pattern around this? And we very quickly learned is that not every case in the organization is going to be one where you require the latest 75 billion parameter Claude coding model or ChatGPT general purpose model, right? For some things in your organization, a small model, well-trained and properly guardrailed, will produce the same results, if not better, okay? And this led to this view of that where we worked with customers and we applied these learnings, right? We saw massive gains, right? We saw that customers who built and owned their own inference infrastructure were able to become these providers. They were able to adopt this idea of model as a service, making these capabilities available to developers and the average guy sitting behind his desk, okay? We saw that we could get good results running open weight models, things that we know how they are tuned, how they are biased, what are the core system prompts that govern these models, okay? Complete transparency on that, okay? And this led to a lot of these customers that are starting to move this way, is that now the token economics, or the token maxing is no longer out of control. It is no longer, the sticker shock that a lot of organizations have got. It is flat because you own the hardware and it is a predictable cost. But the biggest thing, and this will talk a bit more to sovereignty at the end of the day, is that we see these customers are actually realizing technical independence, being in complete control of how they are going to work and how these actual AI instances are implemented, okay? So as I said, we see this shift already moving. I'd encourage anybody to go have a look. The summit keynotes are published on YouTube. There are some great talks. There are some great customer examples, right? And this is the stepping stone. This is the start to AI sovereignty, being able to give organizations total control over what model they use, what data is exposed to that, and being able to audit. And you will see as we start navigating this complex world of AI sovereignty, that transparency and auditability of AI is going to be tantamount. Okay. And the last bit is the guardrails, right? And it's not just about running these models. As I said before, we're coming back to that newly hired intern in the organization, and we need to put some, well, I would almost say a leash on him, but that might be frowned upon in circles these days. We need to just provide some guidance. And with the release of our Red Hat Enterprise AI suite of products that build on top of OpenShift, okay, we have spent an enormous amount of time assembling the best of breed, most supported, most active community projects into a security framework that will allow us to govern and secure the next generation of AI workloads on these platforms, right? So we know everybody's transitioning from simple chatbots to autonomous AI, okay? And it is unmistakable there is a massive productivity potential. The risk with these AI agents is that unless properly guarded and unless properly implemented, okay, we can introduce severe security risks. There are a number of examples, and right now they are on the OWASP top 10 AI vulnerabilities that you need to test for. There's things like prompt hijacking, and making sure that agents have access when they need it, right? And this leads us back to the sovereignty. We need to, even on the agent side, when we do things and when we create outcomes from these workloads and from these new initiatives, we need to be able to prove and provide customers with genuine AI sovereignty. Whether that's model sovereignty, being able to choose that, whether it's data sovereignty, which is going to become a really big thing for us, okay? We've gone through this with things like POPI, GDPR, data protection laws across the world. We're going to go through it again because the data is what informs these agents. And if you're building a RAG, but you're sending sensitive customer data off to a North American model, you potentially could be violating certain data protection laws at the end of the day. And then the most important thing, I think, is proof, right? Is that auditability, the ability to trace and explain, which is something that is very new but is becoming a requirement, is the ability to explain AI-generated decisions and being able to trace that back to the source. Okay, and we've built a comprehensive framework that allows our customers to actually start implementing these guardrails as they embark on their AI journeys, right? Okay, and these frameworks and the guardrails that we've put together, they are giving us a way to implement those robust agent op practices. Okay, and the first thing is authentication. This is the one that scares me the most, is that as developers are building these autonomous agents, they are providing them with super user privileges into databases and services, basically the keys to the kingdom. If the agent is going to perform work on behalf of an end user or an employee, it should do that with the privileges and rights of that user, not with super user privileges in the environment. And we've spent an enormous amount of engineering efforts in capabilities, frameworks, and tools like Spiffy and Spire that allows us to issue those identities to the agents just in time and then enforce the guardrails. We are also building API gateways. It is available today, where if you need to still go out to the frontier models, but you need to put some cost controls or rate limit on top of those API gateways are there and ready to be consumed, along with guardrails around profanity, being able to hijack models, being able to inject prompts into the models. So a very comprehensive security framework, and we can talk more about that for those that are really interested in this space. And that, folks, that wraps up pretty much what we're working on as Red Hat and where we are envisioning and what we are plotting in terms of our product engineering for the next 12 months until we go to Summit again next year. And I hope that's been insightful to everybody and has provided a bit of food for thought. And with that, I'm going to hand back to Angela in the studio.
Hi, thank you, Chris, and welcome back, everybody. We're now going to head into our lightning talks, and I'm going to do this really slowly so nobody gets lost. We're super excited. Thank you, Atlassian. Thank you, Red Hat, for making this happen for us. I just wanted to remind everybody what Muggie's messaging is and how Obsidian helps our clients. We believe that we should help your teams get their code to the best compute for the better data. And today, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you're not a data-driven company, then you're several steps behind. So just before you click on anything, wait a minute. Let me explain to you how the lightning talks are going to work. So on the top tab, you will see event, and there will be 3 rooms: collaboration, code, and compute. And just remember, once you're done in all those rooms, to please click back onto smarter.tech'26 lobby. Your speakers will remind you to do that, but just so that you know how to navigate and get back to the session. So we're welcoming next 3 different lightning talks. We're going to put those in the chat group so you can select one. In collaboration, we've got Tarun and Nicholas, who are our Obsidian Atlassian team. So welcome to them. They're going to talk a little bit about hidden risk in collaboration platforms. In the session labeled code, we've got AI, automate, and skills gap. And that's with Benny Carla Fenter. And then in compute, we've got our CTO, apologies. We've got the modern MSP playbook with Fred Strauss. I'm going to double check that. I think I might have the wrong cue card. So I'm going to go back. Sorry. sorry, don't panic, everyone. The correct lightning talks will be in there. So in Collaborate, we've got Smarter Collaboration starts here with Simon. In Code, we've got Kubernetes with Chris Mulder. And in Compute, we've got Carl Fisher, our CTO, with It Works on My Laptop, a brief history of production confidence. So if you click on those events, we've got people that will help you usher there. And remember to click back to smarter.tech. Apologies for that. So in the chat, you should have the right talks there. We'll see you back.